Hello, and thank you very much for joining me again today. And today I'm joined by Mr. Ndlovu, Chairman of MDC Alliance South Africa. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, and happy New Year.
Thank you very much, and it's nice to see you again after a long, long time. What do you have planned this year as MDC South Africa?
As MDC South Africa, there are a good number of programs that were put in place. You would remember that as an external assembly, we got a mandate to fulfill here in South Africa, not only in South Africa, but in the region. We are going to push advocacy. We are going to engage with the political governing parties, such as the ANC, the SWAPO in Namibia, and the other one in Botswana. But we want to focus and concentrate mainly here in South Africa. We want to improve our relations with the governing party so that they will hear and understand our story. Many people, they don't understand why MDC is actually fighting, why MDC is not getting into dialogue with ED and this dead POLAD thing. But we also are going to identify a database, to put up and push up for a database, a skilled-based database. We have a lot of expertise of Zimbabwean people in this country in manufacturing industry, in different industries actually, whom we think we can push put in our database, and they also mobilize, of course, everyone, regardless of the education or whatever the person is. But we want that all the people to be in our database, those people who want to push for the change in Zimbabwe, for transformation in Zimbabwe, for really, there's a problem in Zimbabwe which I cannot even start talking about now. But really, mobilization is one of our mandates. We want to mobilize not only resources, but people. There's a possibility that we can have 2023, we might have a diaspora vote. And whether we like it or not, if it comes, it must find us prepared. And therefore, we are going to go town to town, city to city, farm by farm, everywhere where Zimbabweans are. We are going to reach the people. So we have a program to reach out to the people. We have a program also to counter and to protect people on issues of human rights in this country. We have issues that there are rules that we feel they are not fair to our people. We got our legal department. We got also to appeal to civil society to come on board to assist us to conscientize and engage the government so that they also become sensitive to the issues that affect our people directly and indirectly. We got a lot, for example, we got issues which pertains to children. A lot of children, they are not even properly documented because of certain laws. But some of them were born here. We got children who are as old as 15, 16 years born here, but because of the status of the parents, you find that child remains stateless. That child has no proper documents, is not allowed to get an identity because of certain laws. So we got those things that affects our people. We still have the issues of xenophobia. Right now, in Northern Cape, where President Ramaphosa is addressing or is going celebrating the 128 years of the existence of the oldest liberation movement in Africa, we see a group of people protesting, saying, chasing away foreigners. Those things does not just happen out of vacuum. Those things are happening because someone behind there have been planning. Not those people you see. Those are innocent people who are also used by elite, who are also used by certain people who are advancing some kind of things. So yes, we have a good number of things that we are putting together. This year, actually, we have moved from internal politics to focus on external politics. What we mean is that we are now focusing on what we are doing as MDC against ZANU-PF, against the ruling party, against what the evil, all those things that are being perpetrated by ZANU-PF. So we are moving from inside politics where we used to fight, bicker and trying to fix one thing from here and there. But now we are saying, let's focus outside. Let's focus on the real issues. Let's focus on the real issues which are bedevailing our country. If I've been in Zim just recently, and I've seen poverty. I've seen people suffering. I've seen things have changed. There's inflation is going up every day, and people can hardly find money to buy. So it's a situation which we have to look at and say, as MDC South Africa, let's stop talking and just criticizing for the sake of criticizing on our own and bickering over useless things. Let's just focus on the bigger issues which are happening outside the party itself.
Okay, so you mentioned the issue of POLAD. This is a very important issue. Can you give us a bit more description? What is the party position on POLAD?
Obviously, POLAD is just a creation of or an invention of ED, of Mnangagwa. POLAD, you're talking about actors on this dialogue. These people, they are performing, they are acting, they are not solving any problem regarding the conflict of politics in Zimbabwe. They represent nothing. Remember, these people in POLAD, they were rejected by the people. Those are presidential candidates, right?
Yes.
They were rejected. They got less than 1%. And 1%, who is making them, who's giving them the right to negotiate on behalf of the people who are angry, who says, no, our elections, our votes were stolen? Who is giving them the right to do that? So POLAD is actually a misrepresentation of the people's interest in Zimbabwe and aspirations of the Zimbabwean people. It is a creation of Mnangagwa. I don't care how many times those people in POLAD try to defend it. It's because, of course, they are actually benefiting. They are going to benefit, even if they are not benefiting it now. Two things. They want to be relevant politically, because those people were rejected by the people, remember,
yes,
during the elections. Two, they are expecting to benefit financially from the taxpayers' money, because some of them were actually talking about cars, whether they must have cars or whatever they were EDs promising them to use during the process of this POLAD negotiation, which is actually absolutely nonsense to me. I'm sorry to say that, because when you look at it, it is neither here nor there. I think that's why people like Thabo Mbeki, even though he met them, but it was a matter of perhaps of trying to get an appraisal of what is happening in Zimbabwe. Perhaps he wanted to engage, he wanted to facilitate, but he realized that maybe what he thought he would find, he realized that it is not what is happening, because the MDC leadership right now, they're quite conscious of what happened. They were quite conscious of our history, of what happened during the GPA. They're quite conscious of the failure of GNU. So we don't want to repeat the same mistakes again. So obviously, going to something which is a dead thing, dead process like POLAD will be a waste of time, waste of people's money. It's a waste of actually people, everything that people have invested in us will be wasting when we go to POLAD. People expect really specific reforms. They want reforms towards the elections into 2023 or whenever there will be elections. Because if you just go to POLAD just to negotiate with someone who is the presider, who is the one that is the referee, is the player, is everything like ED. There's nothing that you will push him to reform or to agree or to succumb to really reforms. So that is why you hear us talking about a neutral presider. If you want dialogue, you need a neutral, someone whom you can trust, at least have a measure of trust, not entirely, but people out from outside Zimbabwe perhaps, and or anyone from Zimbabwe, but it's very difficult at the moment to find a neutral person in Zimbabwe. That's why we said we need a neutral presider. And secondly, when we talk of POLAD, it's a waste of energy and time sometimes. Those people, they represent nothing. Just check who constitute POLAD and where they come from. The bulk of the Zimbabwean people, they are actually, they've rejected that system. They've rejected those kind of negotiations without conditions.
Okay, so let's ask a few questions around POLAD.
Okay.
Who would you prefer? Is the MDC having a list, let's say, of people, eminent persons from outside Zimbabwe, who should come and preside over dialogue in Zimbabwe?
Well, it's not for me, but if it was according entirely up to me, I would prefer people like Obasanjo, the former head of state in Nigeria. And Obasanjo had has experienced a country, has been in a country where there were coups, like in Zimbabwe. So one would expect that kind of a leader to understand the dynamics, the power dynamics in Zimbabwe within military rule at the moment. Perhaps we could also add this such guys like PL or Mumba, is one guy who is very passionate about African development, about African democracy, and all those things, these things that he is very passionate. He might be one of the people. I'm not saying he should be a preferred candidate, but to me, he's one good guy who is actually talking sense sometimes. And then we could have even people like Ian Kama, one of the former head of state in Botswana. Just a few. You can have in the team. You can have even people like Gracia Machel.
Okay.
You can have those kind of people. I'm just giving an example.
So there's quite a lot of people that are more acceptable. But someone like Thabo Mbeki, is he acceptable?
In our view, in my view, I wouldn't like him to be part and parcel. But you know what? Because he was a signatory of GPA, Global Political Agreement, which did not complete its work.
Yes.
So he's likely to be assigned by AU and the SADC. And if that is done, on principle, he will be regarded as a neutral player, because he is not from. But we have some reservations. I have some reservations with Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki actually declared that Zimbabwe was not ready for the democracy. When Zimbabwe was burning, and he actually said there's no crisis in Zimbabwe. And how could a senior, respected person like him state that there's Zimbabwe? Therefore, Zimbabwe, if it's no is not ready for democracy, it meant that the other part, in other words, the MDC had to be forced to compromise because Zimbabwe is not ready for democracy. That was a very unfortunate statement from him. And you would know that we have a long history with Mbeki's interventions in the Zimbabwean conflict. You would remember that in 2002 elections, they were contested, the outcome was disputed, and he sent Kampepe commission, and he couldn't release the commission. The commission later, maybe after the intervention of the media, male guidance, then we knew that those elections were rigged, and everyone now knows what happened. So it's one of those things that makes us have reservations about Thabo Mbeki.
Okay, so we looked at Obasanjo, Ian Kama, Gracia Machel, and Professor Lumumba. Those would be acceptable people.
That's
in your opinion.
personal opinion, yes.
Right. But the MDC leadership, consisting of President Nelson Chamisa and his spokespeople, they've been giving mixed signals. At one point they say they do not want him, and then at another point they say he is acceptable. What is the correct position? Is there a formal position on who should be the mediator?
No, the mediator is, the position is based on principles. There are times some people, they take these statements out of context. I'm not really sure which statement and which press statement was released saying that we don't want Thabo Mbeki. But I think it was out of context. It depends what the leader was talking and which leader was that. But what I know that the MDC has principles. They've laid down principles to say, okay, dialogue is a principled position of the MDC, and we initiated dialogue with the ED before elections. And we said we see the country is burning. Even after elections, we realized that this military government will not accept our the free and fair elections, the outcome of free and fair elections. So we wanted to engage the government so that there could be at least some form of transition so that there would be reforms. Okay, that I talk about dialogue. So we have the issue which should be resolved. The issue of contested election, the issue of legitimacy. Now we have a country that is in a conflict, in denial. ED is at one point sounding like he wants to embrace everybody. He created POLAD, but at the same time he wants to kind of behaving like he doesn't want to see. He doesn't have to do it with Chamisa. He doesn't have to do anything with Chamisa, and that's something which is very unfortunate to say. The people's president must not be involved, and he knows that there is a conflict. The question is, why do you talk about dialogue if everything is fine, if everything is well, if you have won elections and you know that you have all the state authority to run the state? Why can't you bring all those investments then? What is the problem? If the legitimacy is not an issue, why do you talk about dialogue? This shows to me that Mnangagwa and his other puppets and stooges who defend him in Poland are actually in denial. Because right now, if you look at it very careful, Mnangagwa is in a crisis that he cannot resolve. And he is such a person who is so proud. His pride is very, it makes it difficult for him to actually open up for a dialogue. Of course, I'm talking about the principles that the MDC, you asked me about the position.
Yes.
So I talked about legitimacy, I talked about dialogue, I talked about something which we call a national transition mechanism.
Yes.
So that if, in a country like this, you can see that we have the people's president leading the majority of people in Zimbabwe in terms of the outcome of elections, which we believe was 2.6. Even by admission, even by the very outcome that Zek has said the MDC got, is still above huge. If you talk of more than 2 million, and also ED also had something closer to that, it means that this MDC cannot be ignored in such a political conflict. And therefore, we need some sort of mechanism, transitional mechanism, which will have leadership. And that leadership should be able to push for clear reforms, time-based, time frame-based reforms, and specific targets. Because if you talk about reforms like what we did in GPA or under GPA in GNU, and then we ended up not completing all those reforms. But this time we want to say, if we talk about major reforms in 6 months' time, it must happen. If we talk about security reforms in 6 months' time, we must see measurables. We must see it happening. If we talk about electoral reforms, in 6 months' time, we must see it happening. So this time, we need something tangible in terms of reforms. And that can only happen under a proper leadership, or perhaps in a leadership like in a transitional government leadership. We know Mnangagwa as a dictator, he will not accept that. But we will not bow down. We have to put on pressure time and again.
Okay. You mentioned that President Nelson Chamisa got 2.6 million votes.
Yes.
Is he still standing on his demand?
Yes.
That Idi Mnangagwa must step down?
That is why we talk about dialogue. In the dialogue, that's when we have to find each other, to find out how best can we resolve the issue for the outcome of elections. because it is a contested area. No one dispute. No one says can run away from the fact that the elections in Zimbabwe were contested. The results were contested. There's a political dispute in Zimbabwe, and that dispute can only be resolved if the big leaders, big in terms of the numbers that they got out of the elections, those people, they have to be involved. You cannot ask people who were rejected by the people, less than 1%, to negotiate the conflict in Zimbabwe. That will be an insult to the people of Zimbabwe, because they never ask those people to represent them. And then you want them to represent them in terms of the problem, in terms of resolving their conflict. It doesn't make sense. So we need the Mnangagwa, who claims to have won, and the people's president to come together under a neutral presider in a fair platform and negotiate and engage on the conflict in Zimbabwe and find the resolutions in Zimbabwe.
Okay. So would the first step then be to dissolve POLAD?
POLAD, it serves no purpose to us. Of course, POLAD, whether it's there or not, POLAD serves no purpose. It's just another platform created by Mnangagwa. It's an extension of Mnangagwa's stooges and puppets who are serving the Mnangagwa's government. There's interest. It's nothing else, because if you see on daily basis they'll be attacking the people's president. On daily basis they will never hear them attacking Mnangagwa or ZANU-PF. They are actually in cahoots with the ZANU, with the Mnangagwa. They are now calling him His Excellency to show that they are just. It's an extension of ZANU-PF. It's an extension of the interest of ED. Just the same situation we had in 1979 when we have the Mzorewa, Smith, Chikerema, Shirawe, and all those other black guys who thought now they've arrived. They've actually got the independence when it was called Zimbabwe Rhodesia. That was totally nonsense. It was betrayal of the people's interest. Same thing like POLAD. POLAD can be, let it be dissolved.
Okay, so let's say we dissolve POLAD. Now, how would this work? Would we say Idi Mnangagwa and President Chamisa, how do they come together? Because I'm trying to see where the sticking point is.
That is why we are up. I personally, I think this is what should happen. We have regional leaders. Okay. Zimbabwe conflict is no longer a Zimbabwean issue alone. It's now a geopolitical issue now. It's affecting other countries. It's affecting South Africa big time. You can see a number of Zimbabwean people everywhere in South Africa trying to make a living. And it's most of them, they don't have even proper documents, and they are eating in the fiscus, in the national fiscus of South Africa, and that's true, but also contributing in the development, of course. So with Zimbabwean issues not longer for the Zimbabwean people alone. Of course, in terms of decision, it can be decided by Zimbabweans alone, but we need some regional leaders or leaders from Africa, like some of those people I have mentioned, to be appointed maybe by SADC itself or by AU to say, oh, let's look at the issue of Zimbabwe. We need the issue of Zimbabwe to be brought on the agenda and on SADC and on AU so that they can appoint someone to go and preside. It's very simple in my view, I think. Once they appointed someone like that, then an arrangement can be done to say, okay, we want... but then that will depend on the interest, whether ED will accept it or not. If he accepts it, the situation will remain. If he doesn't accept it, the situation will remain the way it is. But if he accepts it, then obviously there will be some processes taking place to bring the two big warring parties together. But it's not only about them. We are saying also that we need all other, like the labor, yes. All stakeholders must be involved. We want the labor to be represented, we want the religious people to be represented, we want the civil society to be represented. All stakeholders, in fact, they should be represented. Even those small parties, those who got nothing less than 1%, they should also come on board. And there's this myth or a lie that people believe that we have skills. It doesn't mean that because we lost at the elections because we were rejected by people, but we got negotiating skills. Who said those who have won don't have negotiating skills? And who is actually crediting them with those negotiating skills? Those negotiating skills, they don't matter. We don't even know if they are true, because if it was true, they wouldn't be in POLAD in the first place.
Okay, so the first step, dissolve POLAD, appoint a mediator, call for an all-stakeholder conference, which includes everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, we know that you have a set of outcomes that you expect. What are those outcomes that you will be presenting to this all-stakeholder conference?
Of course, like the five issues that I've already highlighted.
Yes.
We want a dialogue, okay?
Yes.
We want to resolve the issue of legitimacy. We want to reach a place where we can say, okay, we can compromise to say, okay, but for us to compromise to say, okay, Mnangagwa, look, this is the situation. We don't have an outright winner. We have won through the court. Yes, we were given power by the court, but we were given power by the people. And you look at the people are not supporting you. You are not getting support. Because the truth of the matter is, the reason why Mnangagwa is not succeeding in building the economy of that country is because he doesn't get the support. First, by the people of Zimbabwe. And when the people of Zimbabwe say they don't support you, even the investors will not come. There's nothing that he can do, because of he's not getting that kind of support, because they did not vote for him. But he's in denial, of course. Of course, the other, besides resolving the issue of legitimacy, one would expect that the issues of transitional mechanism be put on table, be debated, how it can take form, how people can lead that body, how it will work, how it will operate, the operational processes, and everything will be put in place. Then we will hit the road. And of course, one wouldn't mind to have a referendum on certain issues if there are still certain sticking issues, putting it across the people of Zimbabwe, people vote yes or no. But this is some of my personal opinion of how the process should yield, you know.
Okay, so I think this is very clear. After the all-stakeholder conference, then the dialogue should commence.
Yes.
And the outcome of a dialogue should be a referendum. Possibly.
Yes.
Okay, very clear. And I think the question that I've always had, which I've presented to MDC leaders, is do you guys have a position paper that you've written down with all these roadmaps, with all these requirements, with all these outcomes?
Oh yes, very critical. Our administration is seized with those issues, and our think tanks have been, of course, busy with those, advising there and there. And some of the things, of course, are public knowledge of what we want, but there are other things of strategic negotiating skills that one cannot preempt, which I think it can only be discussed when the table is set for us.
Okay, so now what is the sticking point? Idi Mnangagwa has called President Nelson Chamisa. He has said, can President Chamisa come to dialogue so that all this can be discussed? What is the sticking point right now as we speak for President Nelson Chamisa to the next POLAD is on Friday, which is tomorrow, or the 11th or whatever.
Yeah, but you see now, Mnangagwa is the right person to convene any dialogue. Mnangagwa is conflicted. Mnangagwa is part of the problem, and you cannot expect a player to be a referee at the same time. So with that one, we made it very clear. It's another sticking point to say no, we cannot accept to be presided by Mnangagwa. We need an independent mediator, somebody who is not part of the problem.
Okay, so that meeting that will bring everyone together, the all-stakeholder conference, should be convened by an external, somebody who has been appointed, who is agreed.
Anyone who is agreed. We could be internal, but we prefer the external one, I think. And they should be agreed.
Okay.
And of course, Mnangagwa is someone who is legally presiding over a state now.
Yes.
He should have to accept that condition. You know, if he want to take the country forward, he should accept that kind of demand. It's a simple demand, it's a genuine demand, I think, and I think it's a reasonable demand to say, for us not to repeat the same thing which is happening since 2002, the elections have been rigged up to the recent election, to the 2018. In order to avoid that, let's genuinely do things in the proper way. And the proper way is like, let's negotiate without not with someone on top there and you are on here, but on equal power. You know, that's what we need. We want to negotiate at an equal power.
Right. I think this is very, very clear. What you've said, it clarifies a lot of questions. But there are certain things that I want us to discuss on a future episode. So we've just passed 30 minutes. I want us to keep going. So the next meeting that we have, and the next meetings, there are two specific issues that I want us to discuss. The first one being one of your former presidents, vice presidents, is actually in POLAD. They are driving the process of POLAD right now as we speak. You are in court with them. They've gone to court to claim ownership of the party. So I think the next thing we need to do, we need to discuss how the dynamics will work around those people who are basically members of your party. They are claiming to be members.
Before we even get there to that debate, to that discussion,
Yes.
Let me just clearly state that something that the people of Zimbabwe and the members of the MDC should be conscious of is that person you are referring, I think you're referring to Madam Cooper, right?
Correct.
Madam Cooper is actually a representation of betrayal of the people's aspirations in Zimbabwe. It's a very unfortunate, but it's not an uncommon trend. It has happened in 1979, it has happened in other countries as well, that when people are about to reach what we call freedom, or to reach a breakthrough, you find some people losing it because of selfishness, because of power, because of the obsession of power themselves. I hear a lot of preposterous things that they keep on mentioning and peddling in the media, peddling all over the show, to claim violence from the MDC, violence from that. But those who were there, we know that most of those things were cooked, and we know the people who were cooking those things, who were cooking and trying to portray MDC as a violent party. That is why even their own spokesperson will always be attacking MDC. They have no other agenda except attacking the people's president. They have nothing to offer. All that they want to offer is actually a representation of Mnangagwa himself. That's what Mnangagwa is paying them for. Mnangagwa is paying most of these is funding all these small parties, and they are there to exist to serve the interests of Mnangagwa. Never mind how they pretend as if they are independent. They are not independent at all. I'm sorry to drag it long.
Okay. No, it's fine. You know, it's important because our members here in South Africa, they rely on information that we provide. And so far, the side that we've had this year has been from Dr. Thokozani Kupe's party. And we also want you to present the position of the MDC. And you know, the MDC Alliance, everything has got millions and millions of supporters. No one can deny that.
That's correct.
Yes. So I think we need to go through this in the next episode. I'm going to make it at least an hour where we discuss and we give people a clear understanding of what's going on.
Yes, I'll be very glad to actually have enough time because I've been listening to a lot of blatant lies being peddled and presented to people, and we want to debunk that with the content it deserves.
Okay.
Hopefully when you come next time, we'll have time for that.
All right, fantastic. Then the other issue is the issue of the National Transitional Authority. You have mentioned this a number of times.
Yes.
I would like us to give people an understanding of what is it that the MDC means when they say National Transitional Authority.
Oh, okay. That is very simple in my understanding. You know, in a government like in Zimbabwe right now, we are being presided or being led by a government which was rejected by a majority of the people. And therefore, if that is the case and it was done, you know, through the courts and stuff like that, what we want to do now is to actually try to bridge between the government and the people by having, when we say a transitional authority, it is actually a leadership that will be leading, because you can't say Mnangagwa and your people leave government and have a vacuum.
Yes.
You can't leave a government in vacuum. You need an authority or leadership or a body that will actually preside over the day-to-day function of the state. You can't leave the issues of economic issues or sectors like hospitals, running administration, the whole administration issue. It needs somebody to take over, somebody, and that is what we call the national transitional mechanism that will preside.
So that is another future episode.
Yes,
that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But today I want us to end on the army. How much influence do you think the army has got on issues like POLAD, dialogue, leeway for Mnangagwa to negotiate? Is Mnangagwa able to make decisions without the army making an input? Should the army not be part of the dialogue?
Well, I would, from the analysis, because there are a lot of analysis, and I guess people are speculating also. I guess some of the speculations are based on facts. All we know is that there's no peace in the cockpit in ZANU-PF. People are fighting each other, but that does not mean that they don't work together, you know. They don't collaborate on issues and work together between the army and these army generals who are now running the country. So a lot of analysis are going like that. Of course, one would love to have the voice of the military voice represented in the dialogue. But, you know, in principle, those who represent the state, you remember, ED, if he comes as the head of state, he is a commander-in-chief of the military. So he would claim that he is actually the voice of the military people. But we know that joke itself is another animal that has influence, and it's an animal that really needs an understanding to be brought aboard to give support. We also know that there are a lot of elements even in the military which do not see eye to eye. So it will depend how best we can. When I say all stakeholders, I mean all those who are contesting power should be represented. Whether the generals also should be on board through the job representation there, and of course, because apparently we don't have a civil government in Zimbabwe, even though we are parading as a civil government. The government in Zimbabwe is actually a military state. Zimbabwe is under military state. And in the situation like that, you need elements of the army to understand what is going on, to get a buy-in of the elements of the army. How we do it, it's a skill that requires leadership.
Right. Mr. Ndlovu, I've had a very interesting discussion with you. And what I want us to do is, I want the South African people to feel that we are giving them all the information that they need. So we'll try as much as possible to have at least 1 or 2 discussions a week where you talk to the people here in South Africa. As the leader, almost everyone in South Africa is supporting MDC Alliance. And I think the opportunity they need to hear from you is very big. Is there anything else that you want to say before we close?
Oh, okay. In terms of communication, of course, we've got different departments. I'll refer to you to some of the few members who are here, national executive members like Mr. Mlilo and Tapua Shumba, and they are working together with our Department of Communication, which is Innocent Simo. So some of the issues, when you need them, you can actually approach those people. But in a nutshell, to respond to your final question is to say to Zimbabweans, no, let's know that Zimbabwe change is coming. As MDC, we are seeing hope and change is coming. There's no way that the MDC will drop its agenda of change. You know that we are very principled. Change is coming. Whatever is happening, people should not lose hope, should keep on fighting. And you know, sometimes when it is about to, when the sun, they say so in one of our vernacular languages, when it is about dawn time, it becomes too dark, you know. And this is the situation in Zimbabwe where people can hardly find food. People are actually facing starvation, literally facing starvation in some of our rural constituents, in some of our places. There are issues, the health issues, the water is a problem, electricity is a problem, and all others. These service deliveries are actually complicated issues there. There are scarce issues, I mean. But we are saying people support those in South Africa, keep on supporting MDC South Africa leadership. We are very focused on issues that will bring change in our country, and we have programs to reach out all over in terms of mobilization, in terms of advocacy, and we engaging the right people, and we do not actually waver from what we have believed, from the principles of the party. And those who would like to be joining the party, we have an office in Braamfontein, and that office will serve the purpose of making it easy for people to access membership cards, to make also easy for people to who have issues and questions. All the offices are there. Officers are there to address your issues, your questions. If you have any problem, or if you want to understand anything regarding the MDC, we in South Africa, we are prepared to sit together with you and help you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndlovu, Chairman of the MDC Alliance here in South Africa Province, and I really enjoyed talking to you. We'll be back again very, very soon with yourself or with the other people that you've nominated. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.